Okay, so something that I do to help save and clean up storage on my Mac. All right, this I have a Mac Mini. It only has 8 GB of RAM, so it's not that fast, but I need to basically make it work as best as I can. And I've noticed as I go through different things, like the folders in my Finder, I discovered that there's a lot of data and a lot of gigabytes that are in things that I'm like, wait, why do I need this? So, for example, what I'm going to do in order to help troubleshoot, and this is the steps that you guys should take to find out how much space you can save on your Macs, so that your After Effects can run quicker, so that you can actually you have caches and like basically all of your programs, your Adobe Premiere Pro, Adobe After Effects, heck, even DaVinci Resolve. When we get into that, it's going to run a lot smoother. So in order to do that, guys, you're going to go to your desktop homepage here. I'm just going to move this so you don't have to do that. But anyway, I'm going to go to my desktop homepage here, and then if you go down to the bottom and if you hover your mouse, you should get the taskbar. The taskbar is at the very bottom here, and then down here you're going to go to Finder. When you click Finder, you're going to have basically you're going to have this pop up right here. Now, you may have a different layout of what you guys see. It may be little icons like this where you see pictures of what you're looking at. It may be a list like me. I personally prefer a list. So in order to do that, you have to go up top here and like basically, here, let me make this a little bit bigger. You're going to go up to the top right here. After you click on Finder in the bottom left, you'll go to the top right here, and then you'll either choose to see it as like a icons, so pictures that we see here, or a list. I prefer a list. It just makes it easier to look at and easier to select everything. Or you can see it as like sort of, I guess you could probably say icon in columns or in a gallery. And then this right here is the gallery. That's right. But to make it easier to track everything and so that I can see literally every single media and everything like that, I personally like to keep things in a list. So I click on list. Whenever we have it in list, that's what it shows us as a preview. And this is the recents area in our favorites section of Finder. If you click on favorites, this little drop down right here deletes favorites, and you're like, wait, where do all my downloads and stuff go? There's a drop down arrow right here next to favorites, and then you can see everything that you still have there, okay? So from here, the first step that I like to take is that I like to go through my downloads, okay? I have a ton of things in here that I have downloaded to show you guys, and there's even some things that other instructors have used to look at and find and basically use to help teach their class. And how you can look at these downloads, you can see to yourself like, all right, where do I find how heavy or how large this download is, okay? Where you look to is on the far right hand side, and you'll see size right here. So, thank you, Alexis. So, size. The size that we have next to the name, so the name of our file is over here, and then the size that we see right here basically tells you how large it is. MB stands for megabytes. KB stands for kilobytes. A kilobyte is smaller than a megabyte, and a megabyte is smaller than a gigabyte, and then a gigabyte is smaller than a terabyte. So it goes K, M, G, T, if you guys want to go in that order. So K is low, M is a little bit is above K, G is above M, and then T is above G. Kilo, mega, giga, and then tera. Those are the prefixes that we have. So these, you can organize your things by size. So for example, if you click on the size category over here, it's going to orient everything on your list in order of size. So if you click it right here, it's going to show me the biggest size to the smallest size. And if you click it again right here, it's going to show me the smallest size to the biggest size. It just basically kind of flipped it. So if you guys are in your download section, which it has a lot of things in it that we may not need, I usually would go to the size and I'd see, okay, I have the 1 a.m. study session download that I have, and I'm not going to show this for the rest of the class. This is 229.2 megabytes. That's 0.229 gigabytes. It's not huge, but it's something that we're probably not going to use later in the day, but I like to take these and save them to my drive. And there's other stuff on here that I've downloaded that I can delete. So let's say I want to delete this. Let's actually move this to my... .mp4. Here we go. This guy's going to go down to my drive. I put him in my lecture examples because those are all the videos and stuff that we've used in the past. So go back to downloads here, and this Key and Peele stuff, it's okay. We'll delete all this. So a quick shortcut for you guys is this one. So if you guys press and hold Control on your keyboards for your Macs and Shift, or on Microsoft, whatever you select right here, if you hold down Control on the bottom left, and then you hold down Shift as well, it's going to select everything on a list the further you go down. It's going to highlight all of that stuff in between. Okay? But if you hold down Command on your Mac and then Shift, it's going to pick individual ones. So I can bounce around here, I can bounce around there, I can come down over here, I can delete all this stuff, you name it. And so I can literally do all this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to delete all this. So instead of clicking delete on your keyboard, guys, you're going to right click everything that you just highlighted, and you're going to click move to trash. You have to make sure that this is stuff that you don't need, okay? So now I'm going to move that to trash. There's other things I'm going to do. Another instructor used some of this, so hopefully they don't get too mad at me. All right. And let's just take some of that stuff out. Right click, move to trash. And you're like, all right, we're done. We threw it away. Real quick, another thing as well is that I actually downloaded some things here. If I wanted to see what was inside this folder, you can double click and see it. But notice how that says 4.3 gigabytes. So that's literally 4 gigabytes of space right here. The 4.3 gigabytes, that's a pretty decently sized video file. If you did like 4K, or if you didn't do something like MP4 or whatever, it's even a higher file size. But what I'm going to do is basically, you can right click this folder, or you can right click anything, and then you can click get info. And when you do that, it presents a little tiny pop-up. And then at this tiny pop-up, it tells you exactly what you right clicked on, and it tells you how much space it takes up right here in the top right. And it says this is 4.3 gigabytes heavy. It's like, whoa. Like, why do I have that? All right, but I'm going to go ahead and delete these two and move those to trash. And you guys think you might be done. You think you might be done. I'm going to leave these two because they're, what is this? Oh, yeah, that's right. It's cool. I don't need that. I need that, though. So, you guys might think, this is my background that you guys see on my webcam right here, so I'm not going to delete that. You guys might think you might be done, like, okay, I put it in the trash, it's done, tear it, like, I don't need it anymore, bye, it's caca. So, from here, you might think to yourself, okay, I have movies in here, this is my recording of OBS right now that I'll post later, and this is the stuff that I'm using to put together for your final project. But as you guys right click, when you right click on anything in your favorite section, it's going to, if you select get info, it's going to show you guys just how big or how much space your desktop takes up. So everything that I see on here is relatively small. What's the size of this thing? Well, it's 21.3 megabytes. I could get rid of this documents, or this, yeah, if I got rid of documents right here, right click documents, it says that it's 27.3 megabytes. That's not too bad. Anything that's usually gigabytes you want to look at and say, like, do I really need this? And as we go through, you can right click literally everything and see how much space it takes up. For these movies, for example, you're a hoarder, you don't want to get rid of anything. Well, you're going to have to learn to clean it up or put it on your drive, Marcus. Because you need that space to run After Effects and Premiere Pro and everything. So if I went to the movies that I recorded and stuff that I do on OBS right here, I can right click this and click Get Info, and you're going to see how many gigabytes it takes. 8.35 gigabytes for all of these videos. It's going to get bigger once I finish the recording here. So another thing that you guys can also find is coming down to where you see your profile, okay? This might have your first name or whatever profile you added when you created like an administrator or whatever when you guys first got your Macs, or it might be the name of your Apple account, which could be your email if you have it on there. So when you right click, when you come to your profile right here, you can right click this and then click Get Info, and you can see that there's 46.2 gigabytes, but then it just went down to 21.9, and it's actually going to kind of fluctuate a little bit because your computer's almost always running, guys. Let me right click it again. Let's see. It probably was 46 because I cleaned some stuff out. But to see what we have in here, guys, the folders, we're going to find and literally inspect almost every single one. Public is only 6 kilobytes. Pictures, 8 kilobytes. That's not really that big of a deal. If we do the First Institute, which is kind of like a cloud service, or Creative Cloud Files, which I'll show you guys Creative Cloud Files. We can see what's heavy on here. 1.3 megabytes. That's not too bad. Now, when we go to our profile and we go to the folders that are in our profile, we can see how much space our applications take up. Okay, if we right click and click Get Info on Applications, we have 274.4 megabytes of applications, which that's okay. But if we go to the application solely on our computer, that's outside of our profile, it's still detecting it right now. It's calculating the size that you guys can see right here. We need these apps. Don't worry about it. So if we go back to our profile right here, instructor, or it might have your first name or your email, you want to go to Creative Cloud Files, and then the Creative Cloud Files for the specific computer that you're using. But if you guys see Creative Cloud Files, you can right click it and see how big it actually is. All right, 1.3 megabytes, not too bad. Let's check this one out. 1.3 megabytes, not too bad. It's okay. That's all right. Documents, 27.3 megabytes. We're looking pretty good. We shouldn't be too bad. All right, now that we have this, you guys might see some stuff in here. If you keep on right clicking and seeing what's inside of here, like I found that there were Adobe After Effects caches and all kinds of things that made After Effects really beefy and really bulky. The reason why we have caches is because if your computer has opened up a file, if it's saved it to, like, say, After Effects, it wants to know where that specific file is so that it can basically access it quicker when you open that project back up again. So that's why we have caches, and we have logs to keep track of any type of errors and anything like that for our computer. While it can be important, it can take up a lot of space. And I remember I showed you guys how to clear up caches a long time ago while we were also managing proxies. This is to save some more space for everybody. So once we have all of this deleted, And we've gone through all of our profiles, we've gone through our pictures, our folders, and we see things that we know that, like, all right, like I don't need some of this, and I want to get rid of some of these things. After that, we're going to go up to the top left, and we're going to click our little apple at the top right here, and we're going to get to About This Mac, and then we're going to see the storage that we have. So now this little pop-up happens, and we're going to click on Storage. And now we see that we have 39.81 gigabytes available, 39.8 gigabytes available out of 245. So this is not too bad right now. I'm in a pretty decent spot, but that's because I cleaned it out yesterday. But I'm going to show you guys just how much more space I can actually clear up. So I'm going to leave this up right here, and I'm going to show you guys the next part, which is clearing out the caches and clearing out the logs. All right. You got 130 something and you're still lagging. Well, that's probably computer. That's probably well, not computer speed. It might be Wi-Fi speed, Marcus. So if you have like a ton of space, then that should be all right. Notice how, yeah, it's Wi-Fi. If you guys are doing this wirelessly, it's best to have like an Ethernet cable plugged into your computer, because you get a much faster, more reliable internet speed, and you're like, whenever you do something wireless like over Wi-Fi, most of the time it's not as fast. Like, the only reason would be because you have a fast speed for your Wi-Fi and a slow speed for the hardwired. But since it's traveling directly over a wire and it goes from point A to point B, that's the quickest possible way that it can happen. When it's wireless, it's being sent out in the air, and then your device has to pick it up. It's still good, but wireless is not as good as wired. That's just simple, like, facts and physics and like actual science. At least not yet. But we're going to leave this up here. I'm going to show you guys how much space I'm going to clear out. This was, I believe, yesterday. I had 12 gigabytes available, so I was getting close to being kind of full. And a quick tip that you can also do is, if you click the button Manage, it's going to present a pop-up for you guys right here where you can optimize and clear out so many different things. So recommendations, you can store things in iCloud, but that might be a subscription you might have to sign up for, maybe like $1 a month or something. You can optimize your storage by removing movies and TV shows that you've already watched from this Mac. I don't have anything on there. Reduce clutter. You can review files that are probably not as important, and you can delete what you don't need anymore. But one thing that I always click on and optimize is empty trash automatically. Save space by automatically erasing items that have been in the trash for more than 30 days, okay? That's a really cool, important function to have. And inside here, right here, we can literally see that trash is taking up 7.8 gigabytes. So we're going to get that space once we delete it all. The documents we have, 8.54 gigabytes, which is the movies that I showed you guys I'm recording on OBS. Applications, we have 47.43 gigabytes of apps, but those are important. We need those. So let's not get rid of it right now. But from here, recommendations, make sure you have this completed and done, okay? Now moving on to the next step. If we go back to our desktop, or if we go into Finder, we don't have to have this pop up for Finder, but let me exit out of that. If we go back to our desktop, it automatically switches to Finder right here. You're going to go to Go. Let me move this to the side a little bit. You're going to go to Finder. And if you lose Finder, by the way, because we're on system information right now, every time you click on this at the top left always changes. If we go back to our desktop and click, it goes back to Finder. Boom, just like that. Now we're going to go to Go, and then from here we can see almost everything that is inside of our Finder, but we need to discover our library. So once you click on Go, you hold down on Option on your keyboard, and then boop, there's Library. You hold down on Option, and then Library pops up right here. So then you want to click on Library, and this is basically all of the information that your computer has stored in it, okay? These are, this is like a lot of this is really important, and I actually poured through and looked at a chunk in a lot of these files, and a lot of them were fine except for two of them, okay? Caches and logs. All right, let's see how much space they're taking up right now. Caches, right click, get info, 969.1 megabytes. All right, that's not too bad. That's almost 1 gigabyte. That's almost 1 gigabyte. There's 1,000 megabytes in a gigabyte. There's 1,000 gigabytes in a terabyte, and then there's 1,000 kilobytes in a megabyte. So remember, K is 1, M is 2, G is 3, T is 4. KMGT. 1,000 Ks in 1 M, 1,000 M's in 1 G, 1,000 G's in 1 T. If you can remember all of that. Caches right here, almost a gigabyte. And then logs. Let's see how logs is doing. Get info. 7.3 megabytes. All right, it's not doing too bad. We're doing all right. But logs and caches, guys, will always be working. It says today here at 6:53 a.m. So this file updated. This date was modified, and it updated today at 6:53 a.m. Caches today at 8:42 a.m. Anytime you open up a program, there's a cache that's attached to that program if it tries to save what you did last. But you're going to click caches and then hold down Command and Shift on your keyboard, and you're going to go down to logs, which you might actually see how much space these have. It can take up a lot. And then you're going to right click both of them, and then you're going to move them to the trash. These will automatically come back, okay? You don't lose these forever, but you're just cleaning out clutter and space. Now, we have not emptied the trash yet, okay? So we're gonna see at least a little bit of space come back to us right here. I cleared out probably 20 to 30 plus gigabytes of space yesterday from deleting caches and logs. And they refresh every time you guys run your computer, okay? So now, in order to fully clean out and make our computer run a lot more efficiently, we want to go down to trash at the bottom where our taskbar is, right click trash, and click empty trash. Once we do that, it's going to give us this little pop-up saying that it's deleting thousands of items, and now we're getting more space back. That number increases, 47.61 gigabytes. We did have 38. And now we have 47.66. It's still cleaning some things out. See, logs just came back right here. Logs just came back, and when I open up like Premiere Pro, After Effects, anything like that, it's going to basically reinstall, or it's going to give us our caches back as well. So, good morning, Grace. Nice of you to join us. So. Now that I have that for you guys, that should clear up a ton of space. Yep, we just had some logs right there, and then caches just popped up right here. So we're looking pretty good, but we have 47.64 gigabytes available, so that's pretty sweet. All right, so I'm gonna exit out of that, and yeah, that kind of concludes just cleaning up some storage. I usually go to downloads first to see if there's anything that I don't need anymore on there. Then I go through the rest of my files that I have on there, see if they're on my profile. Like I mentioned, guys, those Creative Cloud files, you might not want to keep those anymore. It depends on whether or not you're going to work on them again. And then you want to go to Library, where your Finder is, and find the caches and the logs. See how heavy those are by clicking Get Info, right-clicking, and then getting Get Info, and deleting all that, moving it to trash, and then emptying your trash. And then you've cleaned up and you've taken care of a lot of storage and space, okay? So that concludes basically kind of managing storage.